Word to the wise. If you thinking about letting a friend move in with you, don't. Story time. Y'all already know what time it is. Did y'all miss me or what? I missed you too. Now let's just hop straight into the story, okay? Now, just for a little bit of context, I got to give y'all just a little bit of history about me before getting into the actual reading, so it makes sense. So, I bought my house when I was 21. I'm now 26. When I bought my house, it was 2020, end of September. At the time, I was dealing with this dude, and of course, I didn't know, but I was in for a hell of a fucking ride. That being said, I know the ins and outs of a very toxic domestic violence type of situation relationship, right? Very experienced with it. I dated him on and off for about 5 years. Now, at the time, it was just the beginning. So I had no idea what I was in for real. All of that being said, let's get into the story. For the sake of the story, we're going to call her Tiffany. Now, I met Tiffany around 2020. Tiffany is an esthetician. Now, one thing about it, I'm going to support a black business down. And then you a woman too? Yeah, so don't even worry about it. I'm there. On top of that, Tiffany came in clutch. Nobody else was open. At the time, I was going to this chain wax place called, I think it's like Andrea or Wax by Andrea, something like that. So to go from a chain place to an individual person, and then she charging really good prices. Yeah, and she was having my shit. Like, when I first went to her from them, I had like little ingrown hairs, discoloration, and to be completely honest, she got me the fuck together. Smooth baby bottom, no more discoloration, all of that. I was fucking with Tiffany, period. Kept the punani cute. Now, being that me and her started off as esty besties or whatever, we ended up developing a friendship, you know? Now, Tiffany didn't know me like that, and I didn't know Tiffany like that. But naturally, you know, somebody all in your no square, you're gonna start talking about stuff. I mean, you already in my business. I might as well give you a little bit of insight, you know. So, you know, years go by, and now me and Tiffany have been friends for 5 years. Now, Tiffany was always really confused. She loved me. She loved my vibe. I was always very blunt. You know, she was also one of those type of people that was like a rooter. Like, she was always going to be rooting for you, regardless of what you were doing. Also, when I met Tiffany, I was in my dance bag heavy. I'm not going to call it no midnight ballerina, bitch. I was a stripper. Yes, because I'm tired of y'all sugarcoating shit. So one thing Tiffany would notice is that I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't hang around a lot of people. And the friends that I did have, I was very protective of them because at the time I thought they were my friends. But as the story go, you know, them hoes really wasn't my friends. And Tiffany would start to see that. And obviously she only had my side of the story to go off of, but I feel like she put two and two together. She liked my vibe. She started to get to know me. So I feel like she started to see certain things, put two and two together, and was like, yeah, you're not tripping, you know? Needless to say, Tiffany was there for a good chunk of friends, you know, exiting out my motherfucking life. And it was actually an incident with her and a friend of mine. We went to this spa that she invited us to, and everything was really cool, good vibes. My friend at the time, well, the bitch ain't my friend, but she was at the time. She was an Aries. Tiffany is a Cancer. I'm a Virgo. So they kind of butted heads a little bit. And at the time, Tiffany had said something to the friend that I was not fucking with. Because one thing about it, you have certain friends for certain things. And that bitch, I already was feeling like I couldn't tell her my business. So clearly, even though me and the other girl had been friends longer, I trusted Tiffany a lot more. Now, being that that was our first incident, I'm not gonna lie, I just slick cut her ass off. I didn't even tell her that I was irritated with her. Yeah, I was pissed, because, bitch, you got me fucked up. Just because I tell you something don't mean that you just open your mouth and say something to somebody else. Now, granted, this was her first incident with me. She didn't even know I was mad. She just so happened to call me, y'all, asking about her engagement ring. And I'm like, you called me about a ring? And she's like, oh my God, what's going on? Now, she is older than me, right? By like maybe 7 or 8 years. So when I told her the issue and what had happened and how I felt, it was literally like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. She took accountability. You know, I hate that I made you feel that way. I'm calling you about a ring. I don't even know there's anything going on. And I love that response, right? Because I'm used to bitches trying to try me like I'm tripping. And, you know, to have somebody to take accountability, look in the mirror, apologize, even if she may not have felt like she was wrong in the situation, that was a breath of fresh air to me. So not only did that solidify our friendship and make it a stronger bond, But bitch, at that point, I'm like, yeah, okay, me and Tiffany, like, we may actually have something real going on here. After that, me and Tiffany never really had any, words or nothing like that ever happened again, right? So boom. I'm fast forwarding. Years have gone by. Now I'm no longer fucking with that other friend. Tiffany is now fully aware of who I am as a person. She knows my heart. She knows that I read cards, I'm psychic, and all of these things, right? We've gotten to know each other. Now, going back a little bit, when I met Tiffany, she was living with her boyfriend. At the time, he was not her fiance yet. But I got to know him, I got to know her, and they started inviting me places. We go to KOD together. I actually just threw away the picture that we had. I had a picture in my house of me and Tiffany at KOD. It was fun vibes. Like, I never had to worry about Tiffany. So, we moved further along. Her then boyfriend asked her to marry him. And bitch, we're there for that because there is not enough of that going on. So of course I was over the moon for her, period. Everything starts to kind of take a turn though, right? Now, a lot of things are happening in Tiffany's relationship that I'm not very much privy to, but Tiffany at this point knows that I'm with this guy. Things have been physical. It's a toxic situation. He was fucking around with his baby mama. It was a lot going on. So eventually, Tiffany starts to open up about her and her boyfriend or her fiance at the time. We're just gonna call him Rodney. Now, I loved Rodney and Tiffany's relationship because they had been together like 10 plus years. But again, I wasn't privy to everything. So once shit starts hitting the fan, they're getting ready to get married. They both go on their own individual bachelor and bachelorette parties. They had been arguing for a while because Rodney told Tiffany he was going to Colombia. And if you know anything about anything, you know what be going down in Colombia. Okay? They be giving it out. Don't know what they doing. They're just giving it out. And he was ready to purchase. Now, y'all know how man is. She's basically accusing him like, I know what you going down there for. Oh, and he's telling her, you tripping, this, that, and the third. It even got to the point where he got in her face, headbutts her, calls her a bitch. You know what I mean? And he's really going big for somebody who's not going to go out there and do anything nuts, Because if you know what I mean? Like, if you're not going to go do nothing out there, why are you getting so disrespectful? So now I'm privy to the situation. This is like 3 years into our friendship at this point, right? I'm privy to the situation. I don't fucking like Rodney at this point. But I have to play my cards right because until my girl Tiffany leave this nigga, it's not much I can really do. I can't say that I don't like him, create a wedge between me and Tiffany because he's not going to want her to hang out with me. Now, to be completely honest, he's a Leo. So he always was worried about people's opinion and how he showed up to people. He didn't give a fuck about who he truly was. He just didn't want nobody else to know. So boom, he goes to Colombia, comes back. This stupid motherfucker, he has a camera, not his phone, y'all, a camera. Tiffany, long story short, finds a video of him and some Colombian chick. And y'all already know what's going on. This fool done recorded it. Why? So boom, their relationship is starting to get very, very physical. Mentally, physically, emotionally, verbally. It's just starting to get crazy. Now, I told Tiffany because she's seen me go through my stuff, right? I got pregnant. I had a miscarriage. There was a lot going on in that relationship with me. So she felt comfortable coming to me, telling me what was going on with her. So I told Tiffany, like, if anything ever happened, because it was starting to get scary. It was starting to get to a point where, I'm trying to pull up on her because I feel like he's getting ready to do something to her. I'm like, you could just come live with me. I don't do that. I don't care if you my cousin, okay? I just don't like people living with me, especially if they're in situations like that, because I know how it is when you're not ready to leave. And you're not going to put my motherfucking life in danger because you want to play, okay? But if y'all want to hear the rest of this story, tap in and come back for part 2. Comment down below.
Let's talk about my haunted basement. If you're near here, hi. I just want to preface now that I would never, ever, ever touch a Ouija board now. But long story short, I played with a Ouija board, and ever since then, something weird has been in my basement. I used to live in my basement, and now I live upstairs. If you've been here for a long time, then you know I've been hearing knocking, scratching, just weird stuff in my videos. And I genuinely thought this was only happening to me and when I was alone, until it started happening when my boyfriend was also around. Which honestly makes sense because he goes ghost hunting with me. But we were literally sitting in my room, like where I film my videos, and I was telling him about this knocking that comes from like the corner of my room. He basically was like, Elena, that sounds like absolutely insane. This conversation was happening in the middle of the day. And I kid you not, we both heard right after I was like, no, this is real and this is really happening. We heard like in the corner of my room. And my boyfriend whips his head around and he's like, you're joking. I said, no, it sounds exactly like that every single time. In my videos, it's little tapping, it's little scratching, like it is there. Like I've said, if you've been here for a long time, then you know that a lot of scary stuff has happened in my basements for a while. And my boyfriend did not believe that there was anything going on in my basement particularly. A couple days after the whole knocking incident, I asked him really late at night after we had gotten home from like hanging out with our friends, if he could walk across the house and get my laundry. Now, there is a particular reason why I made him go get the laundry. And it is because right next to my laundry room, you can see directly into the basement. There is no door. It is just like an open stairway and it scares me so bad in the middle of the night. And it is strictly because I can feel whatever it is down there looking at me. And I thought I was crazy too. Okay, I know that sounds crazy, but I genuinely thought it was my hypervigilant brain until this happened to my boyfriend. He is walking to get my laundry, puts in the basket, gets up to turn around and come back to my room. And right before he shuts off the light, looks down the stairwell. And he sees something peering around the corner like this, looking at him. And the night that this happened, he did not tell me that this was going on. So I genuinely thought that he was just tired and he was rushing because he was tired, until we were talking about it the next day and he was like, are you serious about something being in your basement? And I knew at that point that he had seen exactly what I was talking about. And I just asked him straight up. We were sitting at the dinner table and I was like, was it looking at you like this? And I did this with my hands. And his face just goes white. His whole face goes white and he just looks at me and he goes, how do you know it was looking at me like that? And I just looked at him and I said, you don't feel it when it's looking at you like that? And I know how crazy this sounds to anyone who doesn't believe in spirits or the paranormal. And I thought it was just my hypervigilant brain, again, working overtime, until my dogs started reacting to it as well. And what I mean by that is that they will just stare down into the basement. They have never done that since I've owned them. But my dogs will sit at the gate that we have set up at the top of the stairs so they don't go in the basement. And their ears will just kind of flap back. I have 2 Boston, so their ears stick like straight up. And their ears will go back like they can hear someone. And if that wasn't scary enough, the gristle on their backs, like that stripe down their back, raises. And if you don't know why dogs do that, their gristle comes up when they are threatened or scared. And my dogs don't bark, so they will just stare down into complete darkness and their ears are flapping and their gristle's coming up and they just kind of are in a trance, like staring down into the basement. And I know this video is like completely different than the videos that I normally make, but anyways, that's gonna do it for me. Stay tuned for more ghost stories.
Can we show them the older homestead?
Yeah, let's go. As you know.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Was that you?
Yeah, that's on either side.
They went to both.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to a series of spooky stories, The Haunted Tea Spill. This series is brought to you by all things spooky and ungodly amounts of paranormal activity. The necklace is per usual. Any commission made off of this necklace goes to the Miss Foundation for Women. Because it's Women's History Month, bitch. Okay, now on to the story. I have quite a few stories, but this one by far is the scariest. When I was very little, my family lived in an extremely old house in small town Montana. It was my mom, dad, 3 sisters, 1 brother, and me. Our family lived there for years, long enough for 3 of my older siblings to move out before we all moved. And through those years, we gathered so many stories. People would claim that there was a guy and his dog chilling in the garage, even if my dad was at work or not home. Sorry. Sometimes this guy would be in the basement in this little workshop area, just working on crafts, but loud enough for people to hear hammering upstairs. Just going along with it. No big deal. Another lady could often be heard also in the basement singing. Pleasant. Not creepy at all. If anyone saw her, it looked like she was just doing laundry. Once everyone gathered around the TV to watch a show, and the rocking chair started rocking on its own, and then an imprint of a person laying on their stomach appeared on the carpet next to my sister. I'm sorry, we're just like pretending nothing's happening? What? I even remember playing with a little girl around my age 4 or so, but when my mom checked on me, I was alone. All those people were fine. People? You mean ghosts. Those ghosts were fine. They just did what I presume they did in their lives and seemed to bother no one. However, there was this one that paced the stairs from the first floor to the second floor all night. My room happened to be right beneath those stairs, with no wall in between or anything to block the view. He would pace these stairs at night mostly. If you acknowledged his existence when he did, he'd race towards you. Bitch, get the fuck away from me. I always ran to sleep with my parents when I'd first hear him. I'd occasionally hear mumbling, but nothing loud enough to make out. My siblings never mentioned him being actively malicious, but they all ran from him too. Well, bitch, if a ghost is just racing towards you because they see that you acknowledge their fucking existence in your home, what are you supposed to do? You're not gonna fucking fight the ghost. You could try. I don't think it's gonna work out very well. I just don't. My siblings that stayed on the second floor rarely left their rooms at night from what I remember, and if any snuck out, they'd sleep in the living room until they felt safe enough to sneak back up. That's a big old fuck no from me. Hell no. What the fuck? Now, I understand that it definitely seems like these little ghosties that are haunting this fucking house, because apparently there's like a fucking family of them, but not a family. Maybe a family? Who knows? I understand that it's like them like doing the things that they were doing in life. Well, okay, maybe it's one of those stacked timeline type situations. That's an interesting theory. Mind you, if you haven't looked it up yet, look it up. However, you're just gonna go with it. I'm sorry. No, I don't. No. I don't think so. I'm also a chicken shit. So just don't take what I say to heart, you know? Anyway, what do y'all think? Rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least scary, creepy, spooky, 10 being the most. See, now I'm flustered. Because what the hell? If you have a story of your own that you want to submit, you can do so on the link tree in my profile. I'll see y'all the next episode. Stay spooky free.
Before I start this story, I just want to give a big trigger warning. This does talk about children dying, so if that's something you're sensitive of, please do not listen to this story. Okay, I'm about to begin. A body of a little girl told us who killed her at the morgue. So this story is being told to us by a forensic doctor. So he starts off the story letting us know that he received a phone call asking him to go to the morgue because there were 6 bodies of little girls whose lives were ended at foster care. They told him that it was urgent that he check the girls because the officers wanted to find the person who did this to them. He said that it was around midnight, but he got there as fast as he could, and his helper was there too, and so was the police officer. The police officer actually waited outside so that they can check the little girls. So they were about to start checking the girls, at first the basic stuff, and they noticed that every single girl was ended the same way, with a pew-pew to the head. At first he noticed that each girl had died a different day because of what they looked like. He said that each body was in a different stage of decomposition. He said that he started with the girl that had signs of being the first one to have ended. He said he started by making an incision on her chest, and out of nowhere, she grabbed his hand and opened her eyes. He said that at first he didn't get scared because it's very common for the human body to move, maybe even sound like they're breathing when they're dying. However, in the stage of decomposition that she was in, it is not common. He even said that her body had already changed colors. He said what he experienced that night was like far beyond the scientific explanation that he can ever give anybody. He said that the girl grabbed his hand, opened her eyes, and gave him the name of her killer. He said that when this happened, even his helper screamed out, "She's alive! She's alive!" And he was like, "No, she's not. She is not alive. I mean, look at her body. It has very different colors and it's in the worst stage of decomposition." He said that her skin was almost green and it was bloated or like swollen. He basically said, if you ask me what happened that night, the only answer I can give you is that God himself gave her that energy to tell us who killed her, because that person must have been the devil. That night, they actually finished all the autopsies, and the next day he went to university and that his helper went to a different hospital. He said that ever since that happened, he never went back to working at a morgue again. He mentions how he's not scared of dead people, but he is scared of things that he has no explanation for. So then he was like, Do you want to know what happened to the killer of the girls? He said that he did end up giving that name to the cops, but instead of telling them that the girl verbally gave them the name, he lied to the cops and said that one of the girls had the name written on her hand because he knew that if he told them what happened, they were gonna think he's crazy and maybe the person was gonna get away from ending those girls. He said the name that he gave to the cops was the confirmed killer who is now spending the rest of his life in jail. Okay, first of all, ill, but secondly, what the fuck was that sound at the end of the video? I'm editing this right now, and I swear I kept hearing things when I was recording the story. I'm gonna show you what I edited out. What the fuck was that? I just want to finish the story, oh my gosh. He said that when this happened, even...
Spooky story time. A follower that wants to remain anonymous sent me the story and we're gonna call it The Call. For the sake of this story, we're gonna call her Amy. Amy says that this happened a very long time ago when she was about 7 years old and she had her very first cell phone. Her mom had gotten her a cell phone at the time just in case she needed to reach her for something, or if her mom called, grandma called, they could reach her. One day, Amy, her mom, and her mom's friend went on vacation. And Amy says that they had stopped at this restaurant to have dinner, they were eating like normal, and Amy's phone started ringing. Her mom is like, check who's calling you just in case it's grandma. Amy checks, and it is almost the exact phone number like her mom's. For example, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 is her mom's phone number, and 1 2 3 4 5 6 8 is this number that's calling her. Because she's curious, she answers it, and she says that this voice was like making her feel very uncomfortable. She says that whoever was on the other end of this call was saying her name, her sister's name, and then "My lovely soul, where are you?" over and over. Amy says that she got so scared because, I mean, she's 7, hands the phone to her mom and she's freaking out, and her mom's like, and she hangs up immediately. When they get to the hotel, her mom starts going through her phone, checks the call history, and whatever number called Amy's phone was no longer there. So because that phone number was very similar to her mom's, she decided she's gonna save it to her contacts. So she put in the phone number, labeled it mom, just to see, just out of curiosity. And she swears that not even 5-10 seconds after she saved the contact, the number called her. And it repeated that same sentence over and over. She's older now, but she says that till this day, she has no idea who that was or what it was, and she has a feeling it's not a person. What do you guys think? Thank you so much to Amy for sending me the spooky story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any other stories that you'd like to share, please send them via DM or email, and I'd love to read them, and I will see you guys in the next spooky story. Bye!
What the fuck was that? Bro!
What's going on around you?
I don't know. I'm frozen. I am frozen.
Did the window
Sean.
break?
Tonight's True Scary Story deals with a possible possession, just so you know it does get very dark. So please keep your headphones in, say a prayer before and after this video, because before we get started though, I do want to remind you to subscribe to my where I tell scarier stories and longer versions of stories. And tonight I'm going to tell a story that you have not heard yet. And guys, send me your scary stories. My email is in my bio. So tonight's submitter's name is Laura, and this happened when she was about 8 or 9 years old. Growing up with her cousin that was a year older than her, both of them would constantly see things that other people couldn't. They would usually brush it off because they were just used to it, but one day at her house, her brother and her 2 cousins were playing hide and seek. Their parents were out of the house at this time. It was just them, so keep in mind that she was the only girl involved in this situation. So her cousin Jack was seeking while the rest of them were hiding, and they made it a rule that you couldn't hide downstairs. It wasn't fair. Everyone decided to hide together for some reason, and they were all hiding in the storage area. So where they were hiding was outside, and they could hear their cousin call their names from inside. She distinctly remembers him going into her room and saying, "Ha ha, I found you." So obviously the entire group is looking at each other like, what the hell is going on? Because they know that they're outside, but they heard their cousin say that they found them inside. And Jack goes outside and he finds them all, and he has this look of confusion on his face, and he's like, "What are you guys doing out here? I just saw you hiding underneath the bed." Now he's talking to Laura at this point, so he
had seen Laura hiding underneath the bed, and as soon as they're trying to figure this out, what the hell is going on and what he heard and what he saw, they hear laughter coming from the back of the storage room closet. It was dark and crowded back there, and the blood just drained from all of their faces as they ran out of the storage room. They ultimately decide not to speak about this because they don't think that their parents are going to believe them because they are kids. Laura then says that she wishes that this was the last time that something like this would happen, but it only got worse. 5 years from then is when things really took a turn. They all decided that they wanted to play a paranormal game because why not? Why not? Why not? Now, nothing actually happened when they played this game, but it was about a month later when things really started to happen. Handprints started appearing on windows and ceilings that were too big for anybody in the house, including the parents. These handprints would not come off no matter how hard they scrubbed, and then shadows started appearing around the house. One night, her and her brother decided to build a fort to sleep in the dark. She enters the fort first, but then her brother enters the fort, and she sees a man standing by the door. Now, this man was standing by the door in her room, its silhouette distinct in the darkness somehow. Now, she didn't want to scare her brother, so she kept it to herself, but her brother goes downstairs to get a glass of water, and we're approaching on midnight at this point. As her brother's walking down the stairs, she all of a sudden hears him bolt back up the stairs with a shaky voice. He tells her, "There's a man standing by the stairs." She slept with the lights on that night, but after that, she started seeing that man in mirrors standing behind her. She would see him in the corner of her eye in dark corners, and then she started waking up with scratches and bruises all over her body that she could not explain. She stopped sleeping at night and was intrigued with black magic, rituals, and demons. She was actually trying to summon demons, and her family was very religious, so this was not like her at all. She started to be more aggressive with her family and her friends, and her family said that during the night they would hear her talking to somebody that wasn't there. Now, her and her brother shared a room, and one night they were watching a horror movie when all of a sudden she just starts laughing hysterically out of nowhere. He got super freaked out and he went to his parents' room, and he spent the night in his parents' room because he was not having that, and she did not go to sleep till 8 o'clock in the morning, and then when she woke up after that, she had no memory of anything. So she finally decides to ask her parents, like, why didn't my brother sleep in the room with me last night? And they all look at her with this strange look on their face, and they're like, he saw a man standing over you last night. He was standing in the corner of your bed, just watching you. Things only got worse from there, and then her parents called a priest to come bless the house, and then they gave her something to shower with to try to help her, and then she slept with her parents and her brother in their room that night, but she couldn't sleep. Her heart was racing. She felt super nauseous after the bath, and then when everybody went to sleep, after she couldn't fall asleep, she starts hearing scratching on the door. Her and her brother were on a mattress on the ground, so she could only see the top of the door, but she saw a shadow standing outside, so she hides under the cover in fear for a few minutes, terrified. Her breath was caught in her throat and her blood ran cold, and then she looks again, and there that man is standing at the end of their mattress. He was very, very tall. His head was touching the ceiling, and his body was way too skinny to be human. They're staring at each other for what felt like hours. Tears are pouring out of her eyes. She is too frozen to even call for her parents. She started praying gradually, louder and louder, until she was finally able to move her hands. She covered herself and then eventually went to sleep, and then the next morning she told her parents everything. They took her to see a priest, and then they brought some people to the house that did some stuff to the house, and she doesn't know what they did, but all she knows is that she never saw that man again. But unfortunately, things kept happening. Her brother and her cousin kept seeing this woman in the corner of their eyes. She never felt alone after that, and occasionally she would feel the same piercing, malicious eyes staring down her soul. She would turn her back, she would look behind her, and the feeling would disappear. She believed that when she played that game, that something malicious attached itself to her, and she wanted everyone else to know, do not play paranormal games. Do not mess with the paranormal, because she came very close, if not was possessed, because she was playing these paranormal games. How many times do we have to tell you not to do this? What do you guys think happened here? Do you think that she was actually possessed? Because she started acting really strange. She started trying to summon demons. I mean, that's pretty scary. That says something, especially because she used to be very religious. So what do you guys think? Because we would both love to know. And do you think that man was trying to possess her? Or do you think that man was slowly possessing her? The bruises and the scratches, that's not a good sign. So drop your thoughts in the comments. But guys, before I do my shout out, I'm gonna do a promotion real quick. I don't want to push this on you, but this is actually one of my favorite things ever, and it's super gross, but it gets the job done. So B-Bird has this ear wax remover, right? And it comes with this thing. That's a little tip that you put in your ear and you like pull out ear wax. So you see how it has like that little tip right there? It also comes with all of these little tips. And my favorite one is this one right here because it like literally grabs the earwax after you like pull it out of your ear. It's disgusting, but it's so freaking satisfying. It also comes with like different handles and stuff. So like this is one of the handles and you can literally just put it in your ear like this and just like pull it out. It's I know this is gross, you guys, but I'm telling you right now, it's freaking amazing, and Q-tips can be dangerous. I'm gonna drop the link for you below if you're interested. My first shout out is going to Chrislyn Royals. Thank you so much for being so supportive and for your kind comments. I love you. I appreciate you more than you know. My second shout out is going to Jinx to be V. Those are the names that I see when you comment. So appreciate you also so much. Like your kind words mean so much to me. You guys have no idea. When people comment and share my posts and show love and just like, it just warms my heart. It makes my entire day. And I appreciate every single one of you more than you could possibly understand. All of you. My name is Kaisa and I tell true scary stories on here every single night that you guys submit to me. So if you like that, hit that follow button. And you guys keep sending me your scary stories. I need them. Other than that, I need you to do 2 things for me. And what is that? Have a safe night and what? Have a spooky night. Love you guys. See you in the next one.